So let me give you an idea about structures in C, because that's very important to understand, to implement this linked list in C. Structures in C. Alright, so can you recall something about data types in C, guys? Okay, so what is the data type? What's the data type? Okay, so what are the data types you are available, which are available in C? One is integer data type, another one is float, another one is character, and double. Right, so these are the four primitive or basic data types available in C program. Right, okay, so if I say int a, which means that I am declaring a variable, I am declaring a container called as a, I am declaring a container called as a, and this container will hold only integer, guys, will hold only integer, because the data type of this container is an integer, so you can store only integers here, right? So float is nothing but let's say I am declaring a variable, say float b. Now container b will have only floating point value, maybe 0.1, 0.111, but that's a decimal value or floating point value. Character C, you would have guessed it will store only characters. Double means it's again an extended version of float only. Okay, it will store the float decimal points, but in some higher values. Okay, so these are four basic or primitive data types in C program. Okay, but when I say what is an integer, right? It has numbers. Float is decimal points. Character is a single character, maybe a, b, c, opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis, hashtag. These are all characters, right? So you know this. But in linked list, we'll talk about nodes, right? We'll talk about nodes. Can I ask you this question? Do you have any data type called node in C? Right? Do you have any data type called as node in C? You don't have, right? You have only four primitive data types. Okay, you don't have a data type called as node, but you need this node to implement your linked list. Okay, it's just a basic unit of linked list, right? So you need this. So how to do that? How to define your own data type? I repeat, how to define your own data type. Okay, how to define your own data type? This is your own data type, node, right? This is not present in C, but how to define that? In those cases, you have to go for this wonderful concept called as structure. Okay, a structure is nothing but user defined data type, guys. User defined data type. It's very simple. Okay, so to define a data type, define a structure, you are just having a keyword called as struct. Okay, a keyword called as struct, and here you have to give the name for a structure. Let me say that my structure name is node. Okay, struct node. Open the parenthesis, give okay, so what do you want to have inside your structure? My structure will, what is the structure, guys? You have to define that here. What is the structure of a node? A node will have two fields, right? One is data field, and another one is the next field, right? Another one is the next field. Okay, so you can write int data here. So inside the struct node, you'll be having a data field, that's an integer field, so it can store integers, right? Int data. And another one, the next field will point to another structure, right? The next field will point to another structure. So you can define like this. Next field will point to another structure, right? So that's called as self-referential structure, guys. So I'll write struct node asterisk next. You know what is asterisk, right? A pointer variable. So struct node asterisk next. Okay, we have seen about pointers, right, already. Super. So this is the structure of a node, guys. Fine. So I'll write it neatly. So if you want to define a node, so you have to give struct node, and you have to do two things. Int data. Okay, that's the first data field. Then you have to have a pointer variable, right, which should point to the structure itself. That's why I am saying like this, guys. Okay, because whenever I told you, whenever I want to create a pointer means I have to define the data type of the variable which it points to. Say for an example, if the pointer next points to an integer value, then I have to write like this, int star next, if it points to an integer value. But in this case, if you see, my next pointer will point to another structure, guys, right? Another structure. For that purpose, I am declaring data type as struct node itself, because you know this is a data type, right? So I am declaring data type as struct node itself. Fine. So which means that my next field will point to another structure which is also of the type struct node, right? So this is called as self-referential structures. I'm not going deep into structures because I just want to explain this alone. Self-referential structures. Alright. So okay, close the parenthesis, of course. Hold on, just close this. So this is the structure of a single node. Okay, so you have all your linked list program should have this. Okay, so after you define this, if you want to create a node, it's very easy, guys. If you want to create a node, you just have to use the data type that you have declared. So struct node, and you just have to say new node. All right, I think that will do. That's it, right? Struct node and new node. Okay. Of course you have to use a pointer because you are going to create address values only. So let me use a pointer variable. Okay, struct node, pointer, new node. All right, I think this will work. This will do for this video, and we'll talk about a lot in the next video. Thank you.